Today, Mom and I went to Pin Chasers for a karaoke night they were holding, but we first got there around 7 p.m. because I think around 5:30 p.m. I think I woke up around 3:15 p.m. and I think that was because I stayed up until about 7 in the morning. And Mom went grocery shopping at some point at Wegmans while I was sleeping in order to get some sushi, I think some sparkling ice beverages, and some other things. I've prepared some ramen and added some spices to it. Around 5:30 p.m., Mom and I decided to set up the new modem that was delivered to her place the other day. Mom got a new modem and it came the other day, and which is why all this stuff is over here. Though that's the old modem. And this is the new modem. We installed the new modem right here in the kitchen. We had everything we needed. It was a self-installation kit, and so although we didn't follow the exact instructions here that were given to us, since our situation wasn't really compatible with those exact instructions. We had a router, and still do, that the modem goes through. And then after everything was set up, there was a point in which Mom needed to activate the modem online. She first tried to do this on my smartphone, but that didn't work. Though, from what I can recall, I think that was not due to any real fault of it initially being on my phone. It's just that, for some reason, after the account info had to be put in order for us to choose a user, in order for Mom to choose a username to bring her account online and for us to activate the modem. Though she ended up having me call Spectrum, because when the account info was entered in, which, from what I recall, was written on paper napkins that were beige in color, the only identity verification that mobile website offered on first my phone and then Mom's phone, then my phone was used to call Spectrum. The mobile website only offered for a code to be sent to an email address, and then you would enter the sent code into a form on the mobile website. The thing is, the email address it sent to was some kind of weird email address we've never even heard of, and it wasn't sent to Mom's Gmail account, and so that's why we had to call Spectrum. Although we first ended up calling the sales department of Spectrum, who gave us the number for Spectrum tech support. And from there, a man directed Mom on what needed to be done. It was relatively straightforward. He asked questions, and then Mom answered those questions to the best of her ability. It was a phone call that lasted 25 minutes. And by that point, it was around 5:45 p.m. to 6 p.m. I was pretty much all ready. Although earlier, I could only really go on YouTube right before Mom and I left for Pin Chasers. It's just that because we ran into complications in setting up the new motor, which was a process of basically either plugging in or screwing in cables into the components. And Mom ended up we ended up being late because about half an hour late because Mom had to get ready and put on some makeup for the karaoke night. And I was pretty much all ready by that point. At some point during the installation, I took some bites of that Big Ears chocolate bunny I got for Easter. Though whenever I was on YouTube, I did notice improvements in video buffering, and I could play YouTube videos in higher quality at Mom's place than I could before. We got to Pin Chasers around 7 p.m. And during a handful of hours, I ended up singing a total of 4 karaoke songs. First, I sang Clocks by Coldplay, then Yellow by Coldplay, then I'm Not Coming Home Without You by Maroon 5, and then finally the last song I sang was Suddenly Seymour by Ashman Howard from the movie Little Shop of Horrors. The Pin Chasers bar area doesn't offer any food, though they do offer some pretty good drinks, so they can be pretty good. I'm generally the sort of person to go for sugary and fruity mixed drinks. And in between karaoke songs, I worked on that styrofoam drawing I started at the Knob the other day. Or that north of the border bar restaurant. Yeah, when I drew on the facial hair and the wrinkles, looking at it, I ended up making a decision to go from making the styrofoam drawing person I was drawing on styrofoam. Instead of an African American, I would do a Hispanic. Because That change felt right. For one thing, the last styrofoam drawing was already an African American. And the facial hair and face details would be easier to see against orange than against brown. And those are the primary reasons I decided to change up my plan for that styrofoam drawing like that. It was around 6:15 p.m. that I had a thing of faux boy sushi rolls. One of these smaller Wegmans sushi packs as something to eat right before Mom and I went to Pin Chasers so that I would have food, to ensure I would have food in my system before ultimately having some alcoholic drinks. The second and last of which was something with pineapple juice, rum, and cranberry juice. As for the first alcoholic drink, it looks similar to the second, though I don't think it had the same ingredients. Though the first alcoholic drink I had that night, it did have a cherry in it. On average, I spent about an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish each drink, sipping at them the whole time through a straw. Because again, I alternated between researching something or looking at something through a mobile browser and working on that styrofoam drawing that I worked on in between turns. This is the bag I had both the unfinished styrofoam drawing and the Sharpie markers I used to work on it tonight. And this is the piece. I personally would have worked on it more, although that whole bag only came with 2 black Sharpie markers, and by the time I got to the point where I was working on the ears, both of those black Sharpie markers were starting to dry out a bit. Coloring in the zippers with a silver metallic marker was among the last things I did while I was at pin chasers. A silver metallic marker will overpower a black Sharpie marker and vice versa. So those tendencies are what allowed me to do this and this, though. Yeah, I may decide to do a bit more work. I worked on these gene wrinkles when I was interrupted by the karaoke night ending. I'm not 100% sure on what I want to do for the shoes. Could be some mix between dress shoes with laces and sneakers, but I'll have to decide. There was also a point in which I ate some more of the Easter candy and other holiday candy, such as some that we got for Valentine's Day in my room. It was some point before Mom and I left for pin chasers. Those little white chocolate Hershey's footballs are pretty good, and so are the Hershey's Kisses that are also white chocolate and have crunchy things inside them.